After all these years, the nightmare has returned as a vision. You heard a familiar voice, and it turned out to be Benny. He asked you to accompany his friend Lottie to transport supplies, saying he was worried about her. In the past, Captain Da Vinci Erin led the resistance to defend the island from the Archeum Legion. But uneasiness still lingers here. You left Fortress Erin to help Lottie transport military supplies. You came across a watchtower that had collapsed after an unusually powerful attack by the Archeum Legion. The rubble blocked the path, but you and Lottie used a grappling hook and pitons to climb over it. You defeated the black Mitrans that appeared where the fireballs landed, and then headed toward Wisperian. Fortunately, Wisperian was still intact, but you couldn't help the North Guards because of a broken pulley lift. When you contacted Wisperian, a mysterious being bathed in light appeared and led you to the top of the great tree. Using Wisperian's power, which reacted with the star fragment, you arrived at the top of the giant tree and met Clay, a leader of the resistance. When you offered to fight alongside him, he said he would explain the operation in Tuaran's Terra. Use Glide Morph to descend and meet him. The children who lost everything here 10 years ago now fight against the giant orcs of the Archeum Legion. They were determined never to back down. Thanks to the star fragment power within your body, the island weathered the crisis. If this power spirals into a frenzy again, it will be dangerous. The wizard Clay offered you a solution, saying that he knows someone who can help you control your power and grow stronger. Archeum forces captured Martinet, the younger of two twin sisters. By keeping her hostage, they forced the shaman Adriana, who wielded the power of a star fragment, to call forth the rains. As the ritual began, rain cascaded from the sky, accompanied by crashes of thunder. But the Archeum forces had altered the ritual. Their tampering caused a cursed rain to fall on Laslan. Wherever the rain fell, creatures transformed into violent monsters that attacked people and devastated the farmland. Adriana was shocked to witness what she had done. When the Archeum forces turned on the sisters, meaning to kill them now that they had served their purpose. The awe-inspiring power of the star fragment that lay dormant within Adriana flooded out, and their enemies were annihilated in an instant. In the aftermath, Adriana was beset by unspeakable disfigurations, swallowed by guilt over her role in causing the cursed rain. The store manager Melky hid Martinet's existence, pretending not to know anything about her. This was because suspicious outsiders, thought to be members of the Archeum Legion, had been looking for Martinet. To meet with her, you had to meet the people connected to her and prove that you had no ill intent. After that, you learned the password, the Light Fragment Whispers. Castleton Infirmary has been closed for some time, due to rumors that the Archeum Legion is looking for Martinet. It was to trick them into thinking that Martinet, who had worked as a healer there, had left. While in hiding, she is still researching a cure for her sister, who is suffering from the Malvescence. The Einar priestess Grace introduced waypoints as a great integration of Venelux magic. Teleportation was a rare skill, that was only used by a few wizards. When the wizard Clay completed the schema for waypoints, it enabled anyone to teleport freely. Once you place your hand on a waypoint, it will glow with blue light, activating the schema. If you open the map and select an activated waypoint, you can instantly travel to that location. In the apothecary at the Goldenrye pastures works the always gloomy Oliver Tiller, the herbalist's apprentice. Oliver has been an apprentice there for some time, though he has yet to gain the approval of his master. The farmers pitied the outstanding apprentice, a gifted student who could memorize the names of countless medicinal herbs, but suffered under his eccentric master. The main ingredients for rancid powder can be acquired from harvesters and insects in the Goldenrye pastures. They are the decomposed heart of a harvester, which controls magical power, a wasp stinger, which controls magical toxicity, and a contaminated scarab horn, which has a tonic effect. These ingredients are highly toxic on their own, but highly effective together. After acquiring the last ingredient from the Mandrake farmstead, you were able to meet the herbalist Wilson Hinman. He always entrusted the apothecary to his apprentice and collected herbs alone. He had to venture to all sorts of dangerous areas to get medicinal herbs, but his pupil was a coward who would flee at the sight of an ant. The effect of the mana-calming potion that Martinet made was incredible. Soon after you drank the potion, you could feel your magic begin to settle down. Martinet, who had been researching a way to relieve her older sister Adriana's pain for so long, finally succeeded in creating a potion more effective than her other attempts. The news from Mina Pai was unexpected. Adriana had ventured far away to avoid the Archeum Legion, who had discovered her hideout. She said that no matter how effective her potions were, they never lasted long enough. Adriana set out to find a way to completely soothe the tempestuous mana. The Archeum Legion attacked the lighthouse where Adriana had been hiding, seeking the power of a star fragment. Only after defeating them did you discover her research papers and a diary she had left behind. There, she had clearly recorded the difficult times she had been through. You found a piece of parchment that looked like a letter. The letter contained details about Janice Carter, someone Adriana had met. Janice, recognizing the strength of the star fragment, advised her that the only way to be free from the Archeum was to leave as soon as possible and find a way to control her power. In the past, Adriana had unleashed the cursed rain under the threats and deceptions of the Archeum, who had taken Martinet hostage. When the Archeum tried to dispose of Martinet, who had served her purpose, Adriana lost control of her malvescence. From then on, she suffered terribly from the side effects of the mana frenzy. Dave, the Lord's aide, was concerned that the bait he was using for the wolf hunting contest wasn't effective enough. He decided to solve this problem by developing a new kind. To get a keepsake for Soiri, you must first gather the ingredients for this new bait from Windhill Shores. The Lord's aide, Dave, introduced you to an armorsmith at Castleton named Rachel. Rachel gave you some materials and told you to craft some armor. You successfully crafted armor using Rachel's materials. You will bring more materials you find on the road to a crafter to make other types of armor. Rachel told you to develop your armor to withstand high-impact attacks. You'll have to learn to craft better armor pieces and improve them to prepare for tougher fights ahead. Crustaceans called crackles are often found in the wrecks near Windhill shores. Crackles are as ferocious as they look and have a pungent smell. It's said that a hunter once won the wolf hunting contest by secretly using crackle meat as bait. Unfortunate accidents often happen off the coast of Castleton, when fishing boats are sunk by the perilous reefs. Chunks of the bait that anglers use are sometimes found in the chests that wash ashore from the wreckage. Their pungent smell is highly effective at luring in wolves. When you returned with the ingredients, the Lord's aide was greatly relieved that he could proceed with the contest as intended. He asked you to deliver the new bait to the Lord's brother, Chris, in Blackhow Plains. He also is the head of the Wolf Hunters Association, so you'll need to talk to him to acquire a keepsake. Although no more keepsakes were being provided for the wolf hunting contest, Chris, the head of the Wolf Hunters Association, told you the materials needed to make them and introduced you to a village craftsman. Chris harbored a strong hatred for Iskale, who wielded the Marvescence and had taken the life of his nephew Henry. Another item required for the wolf hunting keepsake is one of the antlers laid atop the tomb of Hamel, Iskale's archenemy. The antlers of the deer who sought their final rest there gleam and glow brightly with Hamel's mysterious powers. One of the materials for the wolf hunting keepsake is a broken fang from one of the ferocious wolves that inhabit the Blackhow Plains. Only intrepid hunters can acquire this material, symbolizing the death of Iskale the Grey-Fanged. Thomas, a Castleton craftsman, reminisced about the past and recreated the same kind of wolf-hunting keepsake he made in times long gone. He vividly remembered the days when Iskale raided his town, recalling that alongside young Henry, who bravely set out to rescue the children, was an unknown hero. Following Thomas's advice, you visited Adriana, the skills researcher. Adriana told you about how to improve skills using training or improvement books. You discovered that improving skills was a way to become even stronger. A skill training book was crafted with Adrian's help. Adrian said if a skill reaches a certain level, an additional effect will be activated. Such power will be very helpful in the coming war. After all the twists and turns, you finally gave Soiri the wolf-hunting keepsakes you've gathered. She was overjoyed, expressing her gratitude over and over again. Soiri hoped that people would continue to remember Henry for years to come, and told you the location of the abbey where he's buried. While you were standing over Henry's grave, the spirit of the divine beast Hamel appeared. As he used his mysterious power, a vision of the abbey where Henry and Iskale fought unfolded before your eyes. What was Hamel trying to tell you? If you are able to control the dangerous astral force, where will your path lead? Henry, the hero of Castleton and the young girl's savior, chose to fight against a great evil rather than turn his back, even though he was a mere human. By giving his life to defeat the legendary wolf, Henry proved that anyone could overcome mere destiny with the power of their own will. Standing atop the coastal cliffs of Castleton, Helpy spent a long while gazing silently toward Wisp Island. Finally it spoke. It said farewell until the day we meet again, and wished you well on the path ahead. You ruefully parted from the little friend who had been by your side from the beginning, continuing your journey alone. causing the cursed rain. Ten years ago, craftsmen in the employ of the Archeum Legion secretly visited the resistance soldiers at the observatory, offering a huge reward for aid in stealing gems from the goblins. The soldiers, who were suffering through a famine, were overwhelmed with temptation. All but 3 of them left the camp. While the guards were away, the waiting Archeum battle platoon readied for the attack. Watch Captain Henson understood the situation all too well. He told the 3 remaining guards to flee, and one of them, Ruffalo, escaped into the woods with his head hung low. Battling against an endless sea of enemies, the 2 remaining guards died horrible deaths. Henson, who lost an eye, rose again each time he fell, sword held high. Just as Henson, gravely wounded, neared his own death, Ruffalo returned. He had not fled at all, but instead brought reinforcements who drove back the enemy forces. Although the bravery of Henson and his men saved many lives, he blamed himself for the death of the soldiers and resigned as watch captain. 10 years later, he still quietly defends the front lines and is admired and respected by the local resistance forces. Ruby, who you met at the Starlight Observatory ruins, was shouting to warn everyone of danger, saying that the Estella goblins were on their way to attack. Contract coins, which are paid to those who complete contracts, are a currency circulated among the Resistance. Resistance soldiers use these coins to purchase special items. In order to keep the supply equal amongst the forces, the contract coin merchant places a limit on the daily number of purchases. Ruby was perplexed after seeing the orders. Goblins always write in sets of 3 sentences, but the last sentence had been torn off and was missing. Ruby said that if you went to find Henson, the former watch captain, he would help you find the torn pieces. Henson's expression hardened after reading the goblin's commands. The one-eyed hawk said that the fact the final sentence was torn off meant they were about to carry out the mission. Henson said, "You must hurry to find the missing sentence." On the day of battle, the Estella goblins tear off the last sentence of their chieftain's orders and divide it up to carry amongst themselves. If you gather all of the pieces, you can complete the missing sentence. The missing sentence said that an elite contingent of Estella goblins was headed for the Starlight Observatory ruins. You went back to the ruins to warn the guards of the ominous news. Hearing this, Henson left to assemble troops. On Ruffalo's order, only a minimal guard had been left at the Starlight Observatory ruins. Taking advantage of the lax security, elite goblin troops attacked. Henson's support appeared just in the nick of time, leading to a victory against the goblins. After being given the armband, Ruffalo protested that it truly belonged to someone else. He asked you to deliver it to his comrades, who fell in battle a decade ago. It is time to go and find the resting heroes. The painter Ashian had many works depicting the Starlight Observatory ruins, some of which had a strange power. It pulled those who carried stars in and transported them to a far-off place. Once there, those bearing stars have the opportunity to enhance their abilities. Gestal and Cicero, Henson's former comrades, performed their duty until the very end. Their honor and perseverance earned them a place deep within the Resistance's hearts. Luck always finds you in unexpected places. It's no different for adventurers. It's clearly your lucky day when you encounter a mystic globe while exploring. The Archeum Legion often relied on mystic globes and mystic portals to move supplies. For the Resistance, they have become as valuable as treasure chests. Rutain, whom you met in the forest, was investigating the disappearance of a child from Vienta village. He said the search area, Carmine Forest, was extremely dangerous, so he was looking for someone to help him collect his mana recording devices, which he had designed and crafted to record the movements of any living beings. While Rutain was busy investigating the monster Morokai's nest, you wandered around the forest collecting the hidden mana recording devices. You fought off the spiders that interrupted you, and collected the devices that had been hidden in bundles of spider eggs. With those in hand, you can see if there have been any signs of the missing child. Rutain, having analyzed the mana recording devices, confirmed that there were no signs of children in the forest, but also said that he had found orders to abduct children in Morokai's nest. Knowing that the situation was even graver if it was a kidnapping rather than a disappearance, he asked you to inform Robert, another member of the terrific trio. He also mentioned that Robert would be looking for the missing child in the nesting grounds. Robert, who had been investigating the nesting grounds, immediately redoubled his efforts when he heard Rutain's message. He recalled some suspicious areas of the nesting grounds, asked you to look for any clues he missed, and then set out on his own. The places that Robert told you about were some abandoned carriages and a suspicious Terra bird nest. Carriages passing through the nesting grounds are often attacked by fierce birds. However, there were signs that suggested that these abandoned ones had not been damaged by beak or talon. When we searched through the seemingly insignificant carriages, we uncovered ledgers hidden inside, the pages of which contained many names of both regions and people. Inside the nest that Robert asked you to investigate, there was a large Terra bird corpse, a broken blade plunged deep within it. Could it be the sword of someone who had tried to protect the carriages? The only clue as to its wielder is an unusual pattern engraved upon the blade. Robert might know more about the person who wielded the sword. Robert realized that this was an Archeum Legion conspiracy. After locating the children by using a discarded map piece, he asked you to bring the clues to his colleague Sophia in Vienta, while he journeyed ahead to the Archeum hideout to ensure the children's safety. Sophia said she would gather reinforcements and asked you to go and assist Robert. When you reached the Archeum Legion's hideout, you found clues relating to the kidnapped children. Records of a scheme called Calanthia's Plan were written in several documents. There was also a magic circle on the floor used to transport the children away. It seems Robert has already jumped into the magic circle, so you must follow and help him. On the other side of the magic circle lay a secret den the Archeum Legion had created within a deep dungeon. While you fought alongside Robert, Sophia arrived with Captain Da Vinci and the resistance forces. Shortly after working together to rescue the children, the mastermind of all these plots, an Archean captain, appeared. Together with Captain Da Vinci, you finally defeated him. After the battle, Captain Da Vinci himself asked if you would join the resistance. Sophia congratulated you on becoming a member of the resistance. She reflected on what an honor it was to be personally chosen by Captain Da Vinci, telling you the tales of her memories of being rescued by him as a child. She also revealed her ambition to create a larger guild in order to have the skills to stand side by side with her hero. Though the terrific trio possessed excellent skills and a strong sense of justice, they also endured an unhappy childhood. After Captain Da Vinci rescued them, they dreamed of following in his footsteps. Soon after, the terrific trio became known as the new heroes of the Resistance. In Vienta village, you met Robert, who taught you about the lithograph book and its advantages. When he felt watchful eyes upon you, you were quick to chase the spy. A lichen named Bays, a member of the Endless Collectors Association, had been observing you from afar. He explained the lithograph book's purpose and requested your cooperation in completing it. You met a wizard named Paula, who had been researching dimensional circles at Vienta village. She was very grateful when you brought her the Lost Research Journal. Paula promised that she would let you know when her research was complete. The resistance forces outside of town have been burning the belongings of epidemic patients. You met a woman wearing a mask that you didn't recognize, but soon realized she was Sophia, one of the terrific trio. After doing some work at her behest, you heard that letters could be delivered to the doctor in person and headed to the clinic. A doctor named Leonardus at the clinic seemed to really dislike visits from outsiders. He permitted you to help once he heard Sophia's name, but all the patients' responses to your questions seemed odd. You asked about the green medicine they all mentioned, and Leonardus immediately became angry and kicked you out. As Sophia suggested, you snuck into Leonardus's clinic at night and saw an unexpected sight. The patients were gone, and the person watching the place attacked you. You defeated him and discovered a journal that contained a plan to fake an epidemic so as to secretly gather human sacrifices. According to the journal, this blood ritual will be held tonight. You hurried to the plaza to tell Sophia what you had found at the clinic, but she wasn't there. A resistance soldier in the plaza said Sophia had received a report from an investigator and then quickly gone to the wine storehouse near Vienta Vineyard. You went to the wine storehouse, but you were too late to stop the blood ritual. Rutain said that if you killed a vampire who attacked Sophia, you'd prevent her from being turned into a ghoul. To do that, you needed to borrow the Guardian's pledge belonging to a vampire slayer. Stone Guard resistance leader Jake Hander had it. The leader of Stone Guard's resistance forces was a cheerful man who felt somehow beast-like. Once you had explained the whole story, Jake lent you the Guardian's pledge of legendary vampire slayer Ezekiel. But he advised you to find the pledge loop containing Ezekiel's memories in the Temple of Siliveth to strengthen the Guardian first. You acquired the pledge loop and learned about Ezekiel's past. Leonardus killed Scala, Ezekiel's teacher and lover, and Ezekiel became a legendary vampire slayer out to have his revenge. As Jake said, you could tell that the Warden was becoming more powerful as you traced his life story. Ezekiel lost the battle with Leonardus, vowed an oath to get revenge, and became a Guardian. With the power of the Guardian's pledge, Ezekiel encountered Leonardus again, and finally repaid him for what happened to Scala. After Leonardus was gone, Sophia returned to her previous form. When you returned the Guardian's pledge to Jake, he told you to keep it as a gift. A Guardian's soul and power are offered up through the pledge ritual. The owner of that Guardian's pledge is said to be able to transform into the Guardian at any time and use his power. Vernon, the Lord of Stoneguard, who colluded with Archeum, exploited the inhabitants and ruled over them with an iron fist. The Resistance raided and seized the Vernon Archeum's army's cargo and distributed it among the people. One day, an extraordinary girl and 2 dwarves came to visit Vernon. The girl said that if she received funding, she would use it to find a legendary stone called the Heart of the Ancient Golem, build a giant golem, and subdue the Resistance. Though originally filled with doubt, Vernon ended up giving her a substantial sum after watching her golem's performance. The girl's company unraveled the secret of the monolithic boulder. Along the way, a rock struck Henderson and rendered him unconscious. Although they were chased by Chernobog and braved many perilous adventures, in the end, they acquired the stone. After completing the giant golem, the girl made Vernon dance in a huge chest and chant a spell, explaining that it was a ritual that would bind him to the golem, making him its owner. Vernon emerged from the chest, and the giant golem broke down the gate. All at once, the Resistance flooded in and captured the castle. The girl was revealed to be Sienna Parsons, a Resistance member and genius engineer. Even now, when you visit the Enter village, you can still hear tales of her adventures sung by Sienna's comrade-in-arms, Henderson Harmon. Henderson recorded his adventures in the form of songs a long time ago. If he ever knew anything about the golem's heart, there would be clues in his lyrics. The problem is, he took a bad hit to the head in the past, and he said he doesn't remember the lyrics anymore because of it. However, it's possible Carvanet, a longtime fan of his, might know. You met Carvanet in the desert black market, but it seems he is too deeply saddened by a recent heartbreak to be of much help. Still determined to woo her, he said he can win his love's heart by giving her a valuable accessory, which requires rare materials in order to craft it. The materials for the accessory Carvanet wants to craft are desert flower roots, which are found in the monolith wastelands, and cobra wings, which are acquired by hunting cobras. Naturally, these 2 monsters are infamous in the monolith wastelands for their violent temperaments. Carvanet was delighted to receive the crafting materials and tried to sing you Henderson's song, only to realize he couldn't remember the very important second half. He'd written the full lyrics on a very long silk scarf, but it was recently stolen by the Sandflame bandits. He said he would give you the scarf if you retrieved it. The Sandflame bandits are outlaws who steal from tax carriers and merchants passing through the monolith wastelands. They'll happily do anything for money. And because they're always drunk, they do not fear anyone. Upon reading the lyrics, Henderson said that he'd heard that Sienna, a comrade of his, had broken the heart-shaped stone into pieces and hidden them away. Apparently, the pieces can be collected and put back together using a device in the chapel. He told you to remember the following lyrics. Let's fuse the heart pieces, 3, 2, 1. The golem will rise when the heart is done. You hunted all the monsters and collected the ingredients needed for the solution to open the chests, as Henderson instructed. Inserting the ingredients in a bottle and shaking it produced the shiny yellow magic solution he described. You found the hidden chest and unsealed it by applying the magic solution. Within it was a fragment of the golem's heart. Each of the 3 fragments is marked with dots that seem to indicate numbers. Immediately upon reviving the golem's heart, many Archeum forces rushed in, having sensed the mana waves it created. It was not until after you defeated them all in a fierce battle that Resistance wizard Sienna Parsons appeared. She helped you absorb the intense power of the golem's heart and urged you to use it for good, not evil. There was an old bag on top of the broken golem, just as Sienna said there would be. The old and torn bag seemed to contain many memories shared with someone. As soon as Henderson saw the bag, his eyes lit up, like he was seeing an old friend for the first time in a long while. He took an old hood from the bag and began to sing, recalling many memories. A crowd gathered to listen to his performance, and touched by it, gave him a cheering round of applause. Sienna Parsons, Henderson Harmon, and Louis Hasten were comrades who shared many a past mission and adventure. They have since gone separate ways in pursuit of their own dreams, but their stories will live on forever through heroic ballads. Queen Belandia, the invincible, the all-consuming. No one had ever even so much as scratched the fearsome beast. Enter the Order of the Swan, a small-time guild, hired by the Resistance to help gather sandworm poison sacs. While the Resistance soldiers were mopping up the sandworms, they were suddenly dragged into the sand beneath their feet. One of the swans, Rowan, fell into the vortex. All at once, Queen Belandia reared up, writhing in pain. Rowan had morphed into a violet phoenix and burst free from Queen Belandia's carapace, freeing everyone trapped inside. To this day, the mere sight of a human touched with malvescence is enough to violently enrage the mighty beast. Glenn Richhill wanted to dissuade his daughter from trying to hunt down Queen Belandia. He was well aware of the Queen's horror, given that he died after losing his leg to her. Having witnessed the aftermath of Queen Belandia's work in person, you could understand why he was so worried about his daughter that he was unable to leave this world. The investigation team stumbled across Queen Belandia during their survey, leading her to launch a fierce attack. If it had not been for the wizard Josephine Craft, they might have failed to escape. You then sought out Marcia Richhill, Glenn's daughter and Sandworm Raid Group captain. You tried to persuade her to cease her plan to defeat Queen Belandia. However, she did not relent. When Glenn realized that he couldn't stop his daughter, he decided to help her. He recalled the trap Marcia had prepared and thought that if he could lure Queen Belandia there, his daughter could achieve her goal without being in danger. Perhaps the wizard Josephine can find a way to help Marcia. Josephine recalled some passages in Play's book and found a way to lure Queen Belandia. She also informed you that the source of Queen Belandia's power was something known as a star fragment. Those star fragments contain pure power. Someone created a monster called Queen Belandia out of evil intent. You can get a glimpse of Clay's interest in the various monsters and poisons of Silesium through his books. These books contain interesting information, such as the fact that the mighty Queen Belandia was originally a small sandworm, and that sandworm poison sacs have the rare ability to detect another being's mana. You've decided to use Queen Belandia's attraction to powerful mana to lure her in. Now, in order to create artificially powerful mana, you need to create a lure using Armadillo's sharp scales. The potent sandworm poison sac is also used as a raw material for mana production. It is particularly suitable for a mana amplifier to lure Queen Belandia, because it can be used to freely adjust the emitted level of mana based on external conditions. The first attempt to build the device for luring Queen Belandia ended in failure. Since common elemental fusion stones often contain impurities, they cannot be used to contain delicate and complex schema, like the magic schema for attracting monsters. Josephine explained that making a pure elemental fusion stone will make up for this error. Purified water used to draw a magic schema is essential to making a pure elemental fusion stone. This is because low water purity can lead to errors in the schema. In the desert where water is scarce, cactus water can be used as a viable substitute. It is important to consider not only the size of the sand particles used for the pure elemental fusion stone, but also whether they contain their own impurities. Moonlit sand crystals can be ground to very fine particles and are the purest of their kind. Having finished crafting the pure elemental fusion stone, the device for luring Queen Belandia was complete. After installing the device, you press the button of the remote control to amplify the mana emitted and attract Queen Belandia. The remote control must be operated at a minimum safe distance from the device. Upon learning about the luring device, Marcia wanted to catch Queen Belandia immediately. However, in order to do so, a full-scale offensive involving the entire Sandworm raid group is needed, and most of the troops are already active in the Sandworm hatchery. Marcia's troops need help to finish the job and return quickly. The Sandworm raid group regularly carries out operations to reduce the Sandworm population. Once these begin, all but essential members of the squad remain in the Sandworm hatchery and only return when the mission is complete. The best and only way to get the squad members to come back is to help them complete their operation quickly. Marcia and her group had already set up a trap in the hopes of catching Queen Belandia. Unfortunately, it had proved useless, with the Queen never showing up at it. With the new luring device, however, she could be attracted to the trap and captured as planned. The place Marcia mentioned was filled with bombs and gunpowder chests, all meant to kill Queen Belandia. Even the fearsome beast would struggle to survive if caught there during the blast. The luring device was installed in a chest, placed in the center of the trap. After Marcia pressed the button on the remote switch, Queen Belandia charged. Her fierce attack was cut short when she stopped in the middle of the trap and took flight. Determined to bring her down, the raid group let fly every arrow they had. The enormous sandworm was engulfed in an explosion as the gunpowder chest caught fire, but managed to escape. Marcia succeeded in critically injuring Queen Belandia, and felt confident that the next battle against her would be the last. When she learned all of this stemmed from her ghostly father's request, she was filled with bittersweet gratitude. Above all, she now hopes her father can rest in peace. The picture that Marcia asked you to deliver to her brother was a sign of her deep and aching longing for her family. It showed her childhood home, where she and her siblings shared many good times with their father Glenn before he lost his leg. After slaying Queen Belandia, it is Marcia's dream to rebuild the house there. The Richhill siblings had been estranged since falling out over the question of whether or not to leave their hometown. Upon seeing the photo, however, Mark Richhill understood what his sister was trying to say. He immediately set out to write her a heartfelt letter in reply. It seems reconciliation for the siblings might not be far off. A stone engraved with the names of all those killed by Queen Belandia rests on one side of the camp. This memorial only honors the officially identified victims, so it is impossible to guess how many more fell prey to her over the years. Humans only defeated Queen Belandia once in the past. Among those she devoured that day was Rowan, who possessed the power of a star fragment. Rowan transformed into an ethereal violet phoenix and burst through her tough carapace. This was the first time Queen Belandia experienced such pain, and she fled in surprise. The resistance forces at the Sanctuary Oasis were investigating the increasingly common imp layers when Lucas, a new recruit, found himself trapped in a warehouse by a stream of imps emerging from a rift. At the request of Resistance Officer Kaina, you rescued him and sealed the rift with the power of the star fragments. Lucas suspected the abandoned tower on Daybreak Shore of being another imp layer. You traveled there on behalf of the injured Lucas. There, beneath the abandoned tower, you found the body of a Shadowmancer and a parchment that had been charred black by dark magic. At the top of the abandoned tower, you touched the pedestal of the Covenant and a vision unfolded. The vision showed a ritual being performed and the demon Resieth being summoned. After the vision faded, the sealed demon scroll appeared. You should give it to Lucas, who's waiting for you at the Sanctuary Oasis. At Lucas's request, you warned the residents around the Sanctuary Oasis of the demon Resieth's summoning. Priestess Abigail suggested that you meet with Alea, a mage from Venelux. Alea has long suspected that the strange phenomena in the mana wastes are of demonic origin. Alea, a wizard from Benelux, shared an old poem about demons. She asked you to meet Grudron, a knowledgeable traveling merchant, and have him interpret the poem. Grudron recognized the illusion in the poem and told you that the smoke from burning fully open chromosas could ward off demons. The chromosas thrive in the raging wilds, but opening them requires the poison from the tentacle desert flower. You found the necessary flowers and sprayed their poison to open the chromosas. When you returned with the open chromosas, Grudron placed the petals in a special censer along with charcoal. Alea asked you to take the censer and vanquish the demons hiding among the humans. Traveling merchant Ahmed and new resistance member Rayton liked the scent it made. Strangely, Lucas became distraught and fled. Hurry to catch up with Lucas and discover the truth of his identity. After much interrogation, the demon hiding within Lucas finally revealed itself. You managed to defeat it, but it was Havres, the demon of knowledge, not Resieth, the demon of deceit. Chillingly, this meant that more than one demon walked the land. Now you must find Resieth, the demon of deception, who's been summoned from the abandoned tower. Havres, the demon of knowledge, kept numerous journals in his library. The journals revealed that he had been gravely wounded in a battle with Resieth, and that Resieth was pursuing him in human form. He was most suspicious of Elia, a mage who had recently arrived from Benelux. Elia left the barracks and waited for you in the hidden hall. While trying to avert suspicion, she made the mistake of mentioning Havres. In the end, she revealed herself as Resieth and attacked you to get your star fragments. Shadowmancers summoned Resieth to gain power, only to be destroyed by her. Havres, who was summoned over 100 years earlier, was mortally wounded in a battle with the other demon over the star fragments on Earth. These two demons each hid in a human body and devised a plan to defeat each other. The Phonos, a warrior clan, and the Kaltaran, a hunter clan, both followed the same chieftain. However, when Shaman Akidu became the chieftain due to his remarkable talent with dark magic, some orcs protested, claiming he succeeded in the election ritual by using unfair tactics. Akidu responded by creating his own clan, by transforming his own kind into vicious shadow orcs, but couldn't expand his power due to the limits of dark magic. In a later age, Khazar of the Archeum Legion approached Tuarin, the latest chief of the Akidu clan. He demanded a legion of shadow orcs in return for the endless power of a star fragment. Tuarin accepted. To this day, he continues to create new shadow orcs to terrorize the world. The guild leader of the Talon Guild, Arthur Talon, was asking resistance soldiers to take on special contracts and giving out generous rewards for their completion. The high rewards indicated just how dangerous those contracts were. They were particularly focused on investigating the Orcs' movements. Even the Phonos Orcs of Laslan were included as a target. After infiltrating the Phonos clan for an investigation, you learned that their recent ferociousness was due to tension with the Akidu Orcs. The Phonos Orcs were trying to gain more strength to fight the Akidu Orcs by staging a festival of fire. prevent the Phonos orcs from gaining too much strength, you defeated the chief priests overseeing the Festival of Fire. The Talon Guild then began an investigation into the priests to obtain more detailed information. When you finished your mission and went to report to Arthur Talon, you learned that Benny had been kidnapped by the Arkidu orcs. On your way to Arkidu Valley to rescue him, the wizard Zarek gave you an orc morph potion, saying that the time will surely come when you would need it. You obtained some information on Benny's whereabouts from a drunk orc. This information led you to a notebook with Benny's name on it and a prison key. After finding out where Benny was being held, you drank the potion Zarek gave you so that you could infiltrate the area. The potion did quite the opposite. It turned you into a Phonos orc, which drove the Arkidu orcs to attack their so-called foe. Though imprisoned by the orcs, you were able to escape with the key you found in the valley. You defeated the Arkidu orcs and located Benny, who was imprisoned and transformed into an orc. He said that before he could escape, he needed to first return to his original form. Deep in the valley, it was revealed that the Arkidu orcs had been kidnapping Phonos orcs and using wicked sorcery to turn them into shadow orcs. These living weapons lose all sense of self, unable to do anything but fight to their deaths with unnatural fervor. Zarek, seemingly a wizard of the Talon Guild, revealed his true identity as a member of the Archeum Legion who had infiltrated the Resistance. This unfortunate revelation made it clear that Arkidu orcs' dark rituals were tied closely to the Legion. Another betrayal came when it was revealed that Arthur Talon, leader of the Talon Guild, was working for Archeum after being bribed by Zarek. You joined forces with Benny to defeat the pair, but the enemy forces were fast approaching. After narrowly escaping the valley, you informed Gideon, the watch captain of Kanina village, about Arthur Talon's true allegiances. However, you needed solid evidence to prove the guild leader's betrayal. Following Benny's advice, you searched through the Talon Guild's home and found decisive proof of a conspiracy between Archeum and the Arkidu orcs. With the evidence in hand, Gideon decided to report the Talon Guild's corruption to the Resistance. After everything was settled, Benny bade you farewell, promising to see you under better circumstances. Archeum was behind the Arkidu orcs creating shadow orcs all along. They even bought off a resistance faction to help carry out the conspiracy. Though their plot was uncovered this time, you will have to remain vigilant to prevent future catastrophes. For eons, countless wars have been fought throughout Solicium to acquire the Star of Siliveth, a mana stone of immense power. Commander Khazar's Archeum Legion arrived in Laslan to find the treasure. Khazar then tasked Calanthea to find the hidden Star of Siliveth fragments. With the ones she found, she used their power to awaken scores of the dead in northern Laslan. The Resistance, led by Commander Da Vinci, barely managed to stop their attack, which was only a fraction of the Archeum Legion's might. Even now, most of Solicium remains trapped within Archeum's shadow. Hannah asked you to visit the watchguard post, where her son Hardin was posted. You planned to tell Hardin not to return home tonight, as Hannah said, but Officer Gustav informed you that he had not yet returned from his patrol. You set off for Greyclaw Forest to look for him. Observation Post Officer Gustav asked you to take care of the Lycans who were threatening the villagers. Now that the Lycans are gone, the villagers can live in peace. You found a lost notebook near the guard post. It said that a soldier suffering from insomnia went out on patrol in the forest. Based on the notebook's contents, you suspect it belongs to Hardin. Traces of Hardin were found in the Greyclaw Forest. He was badly wounded in a bloodbath with Lycans, and it seems that he heard a strange noise that led into the Lycans' hall. You met Clay at the Lycans' hall, where he was investigating a series of disappearances. He invited you to join him in his search for Hardin. After lifting the Lycans' spell, you found someone lying unconscious. At the guild base, the search for the missing guild members was a heated debate. The guild leaders confirmed that Hardin was the man you found in the Lycans' hall. Clay asked for help, saying that you could unravel the mystery of the disappearances once Hardin regained consciousness. A contaminated Mitran spirit can dull the mind, but it can also be purified to help restore consciousness. Clay suggested you search for contaminated Mitran spirits and Dawnweed on Pure Light Hill. You learned that a purified Mitran spirit can be acquired by purifying a contaminated Mitran at the main waterway. To help Hardin regain consciousness, you were told to bring the Mitran spirit and Dawnweeds to Clay. Clay successfully woke Hardin with the ingredients he received. According to Hardin, the Lycans aren't responsible for the disappearances. He said he was drawn to a strange sound, and then a black smoke engulfed him, knocking him unconscious. You decided to investigate the ruins of terrain to find clues about the missing people. Clay asked you to take the magic communication device, which was still being tested, since it would help you get a sense of what was going on around you. You met August, who was searching the ruins of terrain. According to him, the missing people here kept hearing strange sounds, just like Hardin. They headed to the shadowed crypt, never to be seen again. August asked you to lend a hand by clearing out the Immortai. The ruins of terrain used to be a trading post before the Immortai came, but now it's become a hunting ground for adventurers. One by one, you found signs of the missing resistance soldiers, but no signs of battle or bodies. While the bizarre sounds continued, something black appeared, beckoning you to follow it. Together with Clay, you investigated the connection between the Star of Silivith and the Nightmares. According to some ancient texts, those who possessed pieces of the Star of Silivith were spiritually connected to each other, sharing sensations and even traveling through time and space. As you hurried out of the library, you were greeted by a scene of chaos. The Archeum Legion had stormed Pure Light Tower. You and Clay headed to the top of the tower with Sophia, who had arrived just in time to help drive the Archeum out. You defeated the Archeum Legion and freed the divine beast Gigantrite from captivity. The Archeum Legion was using its power to draw more people into nightmares at Berger's command. You and Sophia hurried to the Shattered Temple to solve the urgent situation, but it had already been taken over by the Archeum Legion. You decided to join Henson and the rest of the Resistance and try to figure out what to do. Together with Henson, you defeated the Archeum Legion and the Immortus. But Nightmare Herald Berger appeared and overpowered the resistance. You took over for the immobilized resistance and attempted to break Berger's spell. When Berger the Nightmare Herald fell, a portal opened up and Khazar emerged. With the resistance on the verge of annihilation, Clay remained behind to fight Khazar alone, buying precious time to allow the resistance forces to escape through the portal. Since then, no one has heard from Clay. The Archean Legion has started a war all across Silesium, aiming to take the stars of Siliveth. Under Da Vinci's command, the Resistance has successfully defended Laslan, but most of Silesium remains trapped under the influence of Archeum. You went to see Hardin's mother, Hannah, but she wasn't there. She'd gone on a trip with her son. Now it seems there would be peace for both of them.